The desert does not forget those who live within it. It only tests the patience of the world. In the far northwest of Africa, where the Atlantic Ocean kisses the edge of the Sahara Desert, stretches a land both vast and mysterious, Western Sahara. For decades, its endless dunes, spanning more than 266,000 square kilometers, have witnessed a story of resilience, ambition, and injustice, unfolding between the Sahrawi people's struggle for self-determination, the territorial ambitions of neighboring states, and the strategic interests of global powers. This is not merely a story of borders. It is a tale of nomads, buried wealth, and a people whose voices have been silenced beneath the desert sands. Long before colonial powers set foot on this land, Western Sahara was alive with the rhythm of nomadic life. The Sanharja Berber tribes, later joined by Arab groups such as the Regabat and Oulad Dilim, traversed its deserts with caravans of gold and salt, connecting Morocco with West Africa. In the 11th century, the Almoravids rose from these sands, establishing a formidable empire. Yet after their decline, the desert returned to its natural order, governed by tribes whose loyalty lay with their people and whose sovereignty belonged to the land itself. The colonial era arrived in the late 19th century. At the Berlin Conference of 1884, European powers carved up Africa, and Spain secured recognition of its claim over Western Sahara. But the Sahrawis refused to surrender. Their resistance endured through decades, embodied by the scholar and warrior Sheikh Mar Alanan, who dreamed of uniting the tribes to expel foreign invaders. By 1934, European military dominance had imposed control, and a Spanish Sahara became a neglected and impoverished colony, until 1963, when one of the world's richest phosphate deposits was discovered at Boukrar. Overnight, the sands that had seemed worthless became a treasure, drawing the gaze of the world. As the wave of independence swept across Africa, a new generation of Sahrawis demanded their right to self-determination. In 1973, they formed the Popular Front for the Liberation of Seguir El Hamra and Rio de Oro, Polisario. Their rallying cry was uncompromising: a self-determination or martyrdom. Armed with intimate knowledge of the desert, they launched a guerrilla campaign against the Spanish, quickly gaining momentum. At the same time, Morocco and Mauritania asserted competing claims, invoking historical allegiances and geographic ties. In 1975, the International Court of Justice ruled that while such ties existed, they did not establish sovereignty over the territory and could not deny the Sahrawi people their fundamental right to choose their own destiny. Ignoring this verdict, Morocco orchestrated the Green March, sending 350,000 civilians into Western Sahara in November 1975 to assert control. Spain, weakened and retreating under Franco, signed the Madrid Accords with Morocco and Mauritania, dividing the territory without consulting its indigenous inhabitants. War engulfed the land. On February 27, 1976, the Polisario proclaimed the Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic, Sadr. Thousands fled to refugee camps in Tindouf, Algeria, enduring a harsh life described as a prison in the desert, a fate that has lasted over 45 years. Mauritania, exhausted by relentless Polisario attacks, withdrew in 1979, leaving Morocco to annex the territory and consolidate a bilateral conflict with the Polisario. To halt attacks, Morocco erected the massive sand wall, berm, stretching over 2,700 kilometers, fortified with mines, radar, and hundreds of thousands of troops, effectively dividing the land into Moroccan-controlled west and Polisario-controlled east. Despite a 1991 UN-brokered ceasefire and plans for a referendum on self-determination, the vote never occurred. Disputes over voter eligibility, identity, and citizenship became insurmountable obstacles. In 2003, UN envoy James Baker proposed temporary autonomy under Moroccan sovereignty, followed by a referendum. Polisario accepted, but Morocco rejected the plan, plunging the region back into stalemate. In 2007, Morocco offered expanded autonomy, granting limited local governance while retaining control over defense and foreign affairs. International powers praised the plan as credible, yet Polisario rejected it, insisting on the inalienable right of the Sahrawi people to choose independence. Beneath politics lies the true engine of the conflict: natural wealth. Morocco controls the Boukrar phosphate mine, Atlantic fisheries, and vast solar and wind energy potential. Polisario denounces this as illegal plunder, and its legal challenges in European courts have occasionally blocked such exploitation. In recent years, Morocco's position has strengthened internationally, with the United States recognizing its sovereignty in 2020, and Spain publicly endorsing its autonomy initiative in 2022, reversing decades of support for a referendum. Yet the human cost remains immense. In Moroccan-controlled areas, activists face arrests, repression of speech, and mistreatment, as during the dismantling of the Gdeim Izzat camp in 2010. In Tindouf, refugees live under restrictions, authoritarian governance, and long-term detentions of prisoners of war. MINURSO, the UN mission tasked with monitoring the ceasefire, lacks authority to monitor human rights, leaving justice absent. The Sahrawi people endure, despite decades of exile, oppression, and stolen opportunity. Their right to self-determination is enshrined in international law, yet Morocco's occupation continues to deny them the freedom to govern their own land, to decide their own fate, and to reclaim what is theirs by birth and history. Their homeland remains a land of riches they cannot freely manage, and their voices are still muffled beneath the shifting desert sands. This story is far from over. It is a story of a land, of wealth coveted by others, and of a people whose resilience refuses to be crushed. The Sahrawis deserve justice, recognition, and the full exercise of their right to self-determination. Only when their voices are heard and their choice respected will the desert's silence be broken, and the long shadow of injustice finally lifted. Western Sahara is not just sand and stones. It is the heart of a people denied their own future. Their freedom is not negotiable. It is a birthright.